Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're stepping inside, exploring, that surprisingly complex, often kind of messy, but ultimately navigable world of our own minds.
The internal landscape.
Exactly. And our mission, really to uncover how we can find some genuine freedom from those persistent anxious thoughts and feelings. The ones they feel like they've set up camp permanently.
And our map for this particular journey, it comes from Scott Symington's book, Freedom from Anxious Thoughts and Feelings, a two-step mindfulness approach for moving beyond fear and worry.
It's a really great source, actually.
Mm.
Symington introduces this, incredibly practical and insightful concept he calls the two-screen method, or TSM.
Mm.
So we're going to unpack this framework today because it offers, I think, a powerful blueprint for shifting how you relate to fear and worry.
Yeah, potentially breaking free from those exhausting loops.
Right. And moving your life forward in ways that, truly matter to you.
It really strikes me, one of the biggest challenges he points out is just how unprepared most of us are for our own internal world.
That's so true.
We spend years, years, learning about the external stuff in school history, science, math.
All the external things.
Right. But we're, rarely taught how our own thoughts and feelings actually work or how to navigate them effectively.
So we're kind of left sailing without an internal compass.
Pretty much.
Yep.
And then our default responses, our reflexes to internal challenges.
Like just trying to stop thinking something anxious.
Exactly. Or avoiding situations that trigger fear. It's like trying to push against a wave,
Oh, yeah. Often just backfires, gives those thoughts more energy.
It does. You end up stuck in this cycle, sort
Yeah.
of accidentally fueling the very things you want to get away from.
So TSM offers a really different approach, a fundamental shift.
Yeah, a shift in perspective.
Okay, let's get into this core metaphor then. The two-screen method. It suggests our internal world is a bit like having two screens going on. Tell us about the first one.
Okay, so think of the front screen. That's your present moment experience.
Right.
Right now, everything that's happening that is or could be enriching, life-giving,
Like being engaged in this conversation.
or focusing on your work, enjoying an activity, being truly present with your family. It's where your attention is aligned with the life you're, actively living.
Got it. And then there's the side screen.
Yeah, the side screen. That's where all the, let's call it, unwanted mental content tends to show up.
The anxious thoughts, the worries.
Fearful images, maybe unhealthy urges. Basically anything that pulls your attention away from that front screen.
Away from the present.
Exactly. And here's the core insight of TSM. This is really key. It's not fundamentally about the content on that side screen.
So you're not trying to argue with the thoughts or
Ex-
fix them.
No, not directly. You're not trying to get rid of them, per se. The power, the real leverage, lies in changing your relationship to them,
Your relationship,
how you respond.
your pattern of response. That's what determines your psychological freedom.
Okay, so the strategy feels a bit counterintuitive then. When something pops up on the side screen, you acknowledge it's there, you sort of accept that it's showing up.
But you don't make it the main event.
Exactly. You don't make it the focus. You deliberately keep your attention anchored on the front screen.
On the task at hand, being present, activities that matter to you.
Precisely. It's like, acknowledging an annoying pop-up ad on your computer, but just not clicking on it.
Ah, okay. Good analogy.
By refusing to fully engage with that side screen stuff, by not feeding it with your attention or struggle or analysis, you effectively cut off its energy supply.
And over time.
Over time, that problematic content, it just loses its power, its influence. It frees up your attention and your life energy for, better things.
And Symington lays this out as a two-step process.
He does. Step one is all about reshaping your relationship with the side screen.
Okay.
This means de-energizing that problematic stuff, mainly by applying mindfulness principles, acceptance, non-resistance, that kind of thing.
So acknowledging it's there without getting hooked, without wrestling with it.
You got it.
Yeah.
And step two is staying connected to the front screen.
Right.
This is where you actively practice putting your attention somewhere valuable, somewhere life-affirming, using what he calls 3 primary anchors:
Which are?
mindfulness skills, healthy distractions and activities, and loving action.
Okay, anchors. We'll definitely dive into those. But before we do, let's spend a little more time on understanding that side screen. How do we tell the difference between, say, a genuine warning signal we should listen to, like real fear, and that destructive side screen anxiety?
That is such a critical distinction. Genuine fear protects you from immediate physical danger, right? Stepping back from a cliff edge.
Sure. Obvious survival instinct.
And healthy anxiety, well, it's useful. It's an alarm saying, hey, take action, like remember to pay that bill or prepare for that important meeting. You want to listen to those signals.
So when does the side screen take over?
The side screen really shows up when the threat isn't immediate or maybe even real. When it's imagined or highly improbable or maybe just completely outside your control.
Even if it feels incredibly real and urgent in the moment.
Oh, absolutely. The feeling can be intense, terrifying even. But the threat itself isn't actually present or actionable right then and there.
So how do you learn to spot it? To know, this is the side screen acting up.
The key, he suggests, is looking for a pattern.
A pattern, okay.
Ask yourself, is this something I tend to worry about? Does this theme, come up for me again and again?
Like a greatest hits of my worries.
Kinda, yeah. If it's a recurring worrying, health, relationships, messing up at work, whatever your flavor is, that's a really strong signal. It's likely a psychological threat playing out on the side screen.
Not necessarily an immediate real-world problem that needs solving right now.
Exactly. It's the mind's pattern, not objective reality demanding action.
That reminds me of the story in the book about the client with health fears.
Oh yeah, that's a great illustration. She was caught in this awful cycle, constantly visiting specialists for imagined illnesses, always seeking reassurance.
Which probably only helped for a little while.
Right, the relief was temporary. So she learned to pause when a new symptom triggered that panic and ask herself, does this fit my pattern?
Okay.
And if the answer was yes, her practice wasn't to immediately Google symptoms or call the doctor. It was to commit to not analyzing or problem solving that specific fear for a set period, like 24 hours.
Wow, that takes discipline.
It does. But it's about breaking the pattern of reactivity. That immediate jump to analysis or reassurance seeking, that's what fuels the cycle.
And our usual reactions when that side screen lights up? Getting upset, trying to suppress it.
They almost always backfire. Trying to just push the thoughts away or arguing with them or getting mad at yourself for being anxious.
Well, why am I like this?
Right. It's like wrestling in quicksand. It just digs you in deeper. Or the other common one, avoidance.
Acting as if the feared thing really is dangerous?
Exactly. Which just reinforces to your brain, see, that was a threat.
Yeah.
Even if objectively it wasn't.
Like the example of Vincent, the anxious flyer.
Right. His strategy was Xanax and alcohol before flying to just numb the anxiety, to avoid feeling it.
Temporary fix.
Temporary fix, absolutely. But that act of avoiding the internal feeling actually strengthened the connection in his brain between flying and extreme danger. It made the fear worse over time.
Because he was reacting to the side screen, not just letting it be there while focusing on the front screen reality, like I'm sitting safely on a plane.
Precisely. He wasn't building tolerance or new learning.
Now, the book also points out the side screen isn't just about fear and anxiety, right? There are other flavors.
Oh, yes. It presents different kinds of challenges. There's what Symington calls the addictive side screen.
Okay.
This isn't really about feeling threatened. It's more about a destructive enticement.
Yeah.
An unhealthy urge or craving that feels like a siren's call,
Like Odysseus, the irresistible song.
Exactly. It promises pleasure or escape or relief from discomfort. But locking into it, giving it your full attention, it quickly narrows your focus and slams shut that window of free will.
You get pulled in.
You get pulled in. And the Odysseus story, it actually contains the principles for protecting yourself. Anticipate the challenge. Know your triggers. Don't lock into the song. Catch that urge early before it consumes you.
Have accountability.
Right. Odysseus had his crew tie him up. And redirect your life energy. Find healthier things to focus on. The book does note, though, for more serious patterns like addiction, TSM is helpful, but often needs that extra support, that accountability structure.
Makes sense. And then there's another one, the depressive side screen.
Yes. This one isn't about threat or enticement. It's about thoughts that just pull your mood down.
Like, I'm worthless. Nothing ever goes right for me.
Or, there's no point. This will never get better.
When you start to invest in these thoughts, believing them, maybe dredging up old memories that seem to support them, your mood can plummet really fast.
You get stuck in that dark internal commentary.
Yeah, it's like a feedback loop. The thoughts fuel the bad mood. The bad mood makes the thoughts seem more believable.
So spotting the early signs of that side screen is crucial too. Absolutely critical. And Symington highlights becoming familiar with common cognitive distortions.
Faulty thinking patterns.
Exactly. Those predictable ways our thinking gets skewed, especially when we're feeling down. Recognizing them acts like an early warning system. There's that type of thought again. That's the depressive side screen trying to hook me.
Okay, so what are some of the big ones we should look out for?
Well, There's all or nothing thinking, seeing things in just black and white. If it's not perfect, it's a total disaster.
Like one mistake means the whole project is ruined, total failure.
Right. It's often tied to perfectionism, and it sets you up to feel like a failure constantly, because life is rarely all good or all bad. It's usually shades of gray.
Okay, what else?
Overgeneralization. This is where you take one single negative event and blow it up into this huge, sweeping conclusion about yourself or your life.
Like one awkward conversation means I'm just completely socially inept and I'll never make friends.
Exactly that kind of thing. Using words like always or never based on one instance. It creates this really negative narrative that just tanks your mood.
And confirmation bias. I think I know this one.
Yeah, it's pretty common. You have a negative belief, maybe nobody at work respects me,
Okay.
and then you only look for and notice the evidence that seems to support that belief.
Hmm.
You see someone frown during your presentation and think, see?
Mm-hmm.
But you completely ignore the positive feedback you got later.
You filter out anything that contradicts the negative belief.
Right. You're biased towards confirming what you already suspect negatively.
Okay. And jumping to conclusions, that has two parts.
It does. There's mind reading, where you just assume you know what other people are thinking, and surprise, surprise, you assume it's negative towards you.
Without any actual evidence.
Right. And fortune telling, where you predict things are going to turn out badly, like it's a foregone conclusion.
The book has that great example. You wave at a friend, they don't wave back.
Yeah. And your mind immediately jumps to, they saw me, they're deliberately ignoring me, they must be mad at me. That's mind reading.
Well, and maybe they just didn't see you, or were distracted, or a million other things.
Exactly. But jumping to that negative conclusion hurts you instantly.
Emotional reasoning. That one sounds tricky.
It really is sneaky. It's the belief that because you feel something very strongly, it must reflect reality.
I feel like a loser, therefore I am a loser.
Precisely. Or, I feel incredibly anxious about this flight, therefore flying must be incredibly dangerous. Or, I feel hopeless, so my situation is hopeless.
But a feeling is just a feeling.
It's just a feeling. It's information, maybe, but it's not necessarily objective truth. Especially when the depressive side screen is active, it often lies, frankly.
Okay. And the last one, personalization.
This is taking excessive blame for negative events that aren't really your fault, or maybe only partially your responsibility, or feeling like bad things are always directed at you personally.
Like if a team project struggles, you think it's all my fault.
Yeah. Or feeling singled out by bad luck. In more extreme cases, it can even veer into a kind of magical thinking, like, my angry thought must have somehow caused that bad thing to happen.
Wow. Okay, so the real power here is learning to identify your own specific recurring thoughts that fit these distortion patterns.
Yes, that becomes your personal early warning system. When you hear that familiar distorted thought pop up, you can recognize, that's the depressive side screen lighting up. I don't need to buy into this.
You know not to invest energy in it because its only goal is to pull you down.
Exactly. You see it for what it is, a pattern, not the truth.
Okay, this gives us a much clearer picture of the side screen, the anxious one, the addictive one, the depressive one. So once we've noticed it, accepted it's there, how do we actively redirect our attention back to the front screen? That's where those anchors come in, right?
Yes, the anchors. They are your active strategy. They give your attention and your energy somewhere else constructive to go. They help you stay grounded in the present, even when that side screen is buzzing away.
Okay, let's start with the first anchor, mindfulness skills.
Right. So mindfulness, as Swington presents it, it's really a way of being. It's about cultivating that present moment awareness.
Being here now.
Yeah, but with an attitude of acceptance and non-resistance, especially towards those difficult thoughts and feelings. It builds your capacity to just observe them without getting immediately swept away.
You learn to watch the mental weather without becoming the storm.
That's a great way to put it. And there are different ways to practice and build this skill.
Okay.
He talks about general mindfulness training. These are practices you weave into your daily or weekly routine to kind of strengthen that mindful muscle over time.
Like going to the mental gym.
Kind of. A foundational one is focused breathing awareness, or FBA. It's pretty simple.
How does it work?
You find a quiet place, sit comfortably, close your eyes if that feels okay for you.
Or keep them open if closing them feels activating.
Exactly. You can use a soft gaze on a spot on the floor, a visual anchor. Then you just bring your focus entirely to the sensation of your breath, in and out, feeling the air move.
And he suggests counting exhales, up to 4.
Yeah, that's a helpful little technique to anchor the attention. Just counting 1 on the first exhale, 2 on the second, up to 4, and then starting again at 1. It gives the mind something concrete to hold on to.
And if your mind wanders off thinking about laundry or emails,
That's totally normal. The key is gentleness. Your mind will wander. That's its job. The practice isn't about forcing an empty mind. It's about noticing when the mind has wandered.
okay.
And then gently, without judgment, just guiding the attention back to the breath, back to the count.
And doing this for, say, 10, 15 minutes a day.
Or even just several times a week.
Okay.
Consistency builds that capacity over time. Significant capacity, actually.
And mindfulness isn't just about sitting on a cushion.
Definitely not. That's where mindful everyday tasks come in. This is about bringing that same quality of present moment awareness to ordinary activities you already do.
Like washing the dishes.
Washing dishes, taking a shower, driving, folding laundry. Engage all your senses. What do you actually see, hear, feel, smell, maybe even taste?
So instead of mentally being a million miles away planning dinner while washing dishes.
You're feeling the warm water, seeing the bubbles, hearing the clink of plates. It turns these mundane tasks into mini mindfulness practices.
And that strengthens your ability to notice your internal stuff too, without getting lost in it.
Precisely. Mindful driving is a great example. Really noticing the feel of the steering wheel, the pressure of your body in the seat, the sounds of traffic, the colors outside. It anchors you firmly in the present moment.
Okay. But what about when the worry or the panic or the sadness feels really, really intense, like overwhelming?
Yeah, that's when just accept and redirect can feel really hard.
Mm,
For those moments, Symington offers mindfulness skills for challenging moments. A key one is grounding.
grounding. Okay.
He calls it mindfulness on steroids. It's because it involves systematically and intensely focusing your attention on your immediate physical surroundings, using all 5 senses very deliberately.
So pulling your attention forcefully out of the internal storm and onto external reality.
Exactly. The grounding exercise usually starts with taking a few slow, deep breaths, consciously releasing tension on the exhale. Then you hyper-focus,
Oh.
like really listen intently to all the sounds around you, near and far. Then shift to sight-steady colors, textures, shapes in the room. Then notice the feeling of your feet on the floor, the chair supporting you, the texture of your clothes, the temperature of the air on your skin.
Systematically going through the senses.
Right. It's a powerful way to create psychological distance from overwhelming internal states by basically flooding your attention with concrete external sensory data. Brings you back to the here and now quickly.
Okay, so mindfulness skills help us be present and less reactive. What's the second anchor? Healthy distractions and activities, or HDAs.
Right. The purpose here is pretty straightforward. Give your attention and your life energy a safe, positive, constructive place to land when that side screen is flaring up.
Keep you engaged with the front screen.
Exactly. It's an active redirection.
And the book helps categorize these, which seems useful.
It does. First, you have physical activities. Pretty much anything that gets your body moving.
Running, swimming, walking, dancing.
Yoga, gardening, even just stretching. Moving your body is a great way to shift your mental state.
Then pleasurable activities.
Yes, and these are really important, especially if you're struggling with low mood or what's called anhedonia, that inability to feel pleasure. These activities tap into the brain's reward pathways.
So things that just feel good.
Things that genuinely bring you enjoyment. Listening to music you love, taking a warm bath, meeting up with a friend, petting your dog, enjoying a favorite hobby. They give you a direct mood boost.
Okay. And enlivening activities. They sound different.
They are. They're kind of antidotes to boredom or feeling stuck in a rut. They expand your world, stimulate your senses with something new or engaging.
Like what?
Well, Symington breaks them down into themes. There's challenge, stretching yourself, maybe in small ways like learning a new chord on the guitar or researching a topic you're curious about. Or bigger ways like tackling a challenging hike, learning a language on an app, joining Toastmasters.
Pushing your boundaries a bit.
Exactly. Then there's adventure, breaking routine, exposing yourself to new sights, sounds, experiences, visiting a new park, trying a different route home, even traveling to a new place. Worry often decreases when you travel because your mind is so busy processing novelty.
Makes sense. Less bandwidth for rumination.
Right. And the third enlivening theme is creativity.
Which isn't just painting or writing poetry, right?
Not at all. It's any expression of that creative spark. Cooking a new meal, planning a party, arranging flowers, writing a blog post, designing something, even just doodling or sketching. It feeds a part of you that maybe gets neglected in the day-to-day.
Okay. And finally, just general activities.
Yeah, these are things that hold your attention simply because they're important or necessary. even if they aren't inherently pleasurable or super enlivening.
Like cleaning the house, organizing files, helping your kids with homework.
Exactly. They require focus and keep you grounded in purposeful action on the front screen.
So the idea isn't just to grit your teeth and ignore the side screen. It's to have this rich menu of positive, healthy things you can actively choose to turn towards.
Precisely. It's about having a ready-to-go list of possibilities. Okay, the side screen is live right now. Where can I choose to put my precious attention and life energy instead? It's proactive.
This makes sense. Now, the third anchor, loving action, feels like it takes things even further. It actually uses the side screen activity itself as a prompt.
It's incredibly powerful, potentially transformative. The core idea here is to use that discomfort, that pull from the side screen, the anxiety, the low mood, the urge, not as a signal to retreat or react negatively, but as a reminder and a catalyst
A catalyst for what?
to deliberately put your attention and concern onto others or onto expressing the best parts of who you are, to embody your values in action. It's about converting that internal struggle into an opportunity to be a positive force.
Wow. Okay, unpack that a bit. Like the client example with separation anxiety.
That's a beautiful illustration, yeah. She had intense anxiety about traveling alone, instead
Mm,
of getting lost in the fear and worry loops.
which would be the default.
Totally. She consciously decided to use that trip and the anxiety it provoked as an opportunity to practice encouragement, which was a core value for her.
So how did she do that?
She actively looked for small ways to express kindness and encouragement to people around her, genuinely thanking airport staff, offering a sincere compliment to a fellow traveler, smiling warmly at someone. She channeled that anxious energy outward into an expression of who she wanted to be.
Instead of letting it trap her inside.
Exactly. It shifted her entire experience of the challenge.
So how do you figure out your specific loving actions? The book has steps for this.
It does. Step one is called counting the cost, using something like the compromise loving action exercise. There's a list of positive qualities: patience, humor, compassion, service, courage, forgiveness, attentiveness, things like that.
Okay.
You reflect on which of these valued ways of being tend to get shut down or lost. When you're caught up in your particular side screen struggle, whether it's anxiety or a bad mood or an unhealthy urge.
So how does my anxiety interfere with me being patient? Or how does my low mood stop me from being humorous or compassionate?
Exactly. You assess how your struggle gets in the way of being the kind of person, say partner, parent, or friend you aspire to be.
Yeah,
Then you identify maybe your top 4 most important or most compromised loving actions.
got it. And step two,
Step 2 is defining what love looks like. This is critical, making it concrete.
taking it from an abstract value to actual behavior.
Precisely. For those top 4 loving actions you identified, you translate them into specific observable behaviors. What would someone actually see or hear you doing if you were fully expressing that quality in a real situation?
So if attentiveness is one, a concrete behavior might be putting my phone down and really listening when my partner tells me about their day.
Perfect example.
Yeah.
Or if it's humor, it might be making a lighthearted comment when things get tense. Or
Yep.
for service, it could be offering to help a neighbor carry their groceries. Really specific actions.
Okay, so you have your list of compromised values and their concrete behavioral expressions. How do you apply it in the moment?
This is where the magic happens. When that side screen activates, the worry spikes up. The urge to engage in an unhealthy behavior arises. Those depressive thoughts start swirling. You use that internal event as a cue
Not a cue to spiral, but a cue to.
to pause. Look at your list of concrete loving actions and choose to perform one of them. Right then, or as soon as realistically possible. Even a small action counts.
Like the working mother in the book. She felt the urge to drink.
Yes. And instead of giving in, she used that urge as her reminder, her signal, to instead engage in a specific act of attentiveness towards her kids, or availability to her husband, or compassion, or even connecting with her spirituality by reading a meaningful book. She redirected the energy triggered by the urge into valued action.
Or the screenwriter with obsessive anxiety about failing.
Right. She used that anxiety hitting as a catalyst, a prompt to maybe tell a joke to lighten the mood, humor, or do something creative to spruce up her workspace, creativity, or make an encouraging comment to a colleague, kindness, or express gratitude.
She even used humor about her own fears sometimes.
Yeah, exaggerating them humorously, which is a form of reality testing, but also a way to inject lightness, another loving action. It's actively building the life you want on the front screen, guided by your values, using the side screen signal as the very trigger to do so.
That's a powerful reframe. The side screen isn't just an enemy to be defeated or ignored, it can actually become a prompt, a launching pad for expressing your best self.
That's the transformative potential, absolutely.
Right.
It shifts your whole focus from struggling against this internal thing to actively building the life you value through intentional action.
How do you make this stick long term so it's not just something you do occasionally when you remember?
Good question. Symington talks about really choosing loving actions that resonate deeply, that align with both your head and your heart. He mentions using an assessment process to help clarify those.
Okay.
And then crucially, creating some kind of structure or system to support consistent practice, making it more of a ritual, part of your routine, not just a reaction when the side screen gets loud.
Building it into the fabric of your life.
Exactly. Like Benjamin Franklin famously used to track his progress on different virtues daily. Or the example of Kevin in the book.
Right, he used weekly themes.
Yeah. He'd pick a loving action, maybe service or patience, as his theme for the week. Then he set calendar reminders to actively look for small, concrete opportunities to practice that specific quality throughout his day, regardless of whether his side screen was active or not.
But still using the side screen as an additional prompt when it did show up.
Yes. It becomes both proactive and reactive. The goal is intentionally weaving these valued ways of being into your life, making them habits. It's about sustained personal growth, not just symptom management.
That really does feel like a complete framework, moving from just reacting to consciously creating.
It puts you back in the driver's seat of your internal world and consequently your external life.
Yeah.
You move from feeling like a victim of your thoughts and feelings to being an agent, capable of choosing your response and building something meaningful.
Now, to really illustrate how this all comes together, Symington includes a case study, Miss J.
Yes, Miss J's story is really compelling. She came in experiencing really severe, debilitating anxiety. She rated it consistently high, like 65 to 80 out of 100.
That's intense.
Very intense. She had intrusive, violent images popping into her head, significant health anxiety, social anxiety. She just felt completely overwhelmed by it all.
So how did TSM help someone navigating that level of distress?
Well, a crucial part of her therapy involved exposure therapy. Now, this isn't strictly one of the TSM anchors, but it's a behavioral technique often used alongside TSM, especially when fears are intense. It helps the side screen content itself lose some of its punch over time.
What did that involve for her?
It meant deliberately, gradually moving towards the things she feared in a structured way.
Facing the fear.
Exactly. Confronting thoughts about car accidents, talking about health issues that scared her, gradually facing social situations using what's often called a freedom ladder or hierarchy. She even did slightly embarrassing things on purpose to challenge the social anxiety,
The goal being.
to teach her brain through direct experience that the feared catastrophe doesn't actually happen even when the anxiety feeling is strong. It helps recalibrate the threat response.
And while she was doing these challenging exposure exercises, she was applying the core TSM principle.
Absolutely. Throughout the exposures and just in her daily life, she practiced accept and redirect. She worked on allowing that intense, anxious feeling or that disturbing image to just be there on our side screen without fighting it or getting consumed by it. And at the same time, consciously redirecting her attention back to the front screen.
Focusing on the therapy conversation or the tasks she was doing during the exposure?
Right. Focusing on the present reality. It was definitely challenging, especially at first, but it was essential.
And did she use the specific front screen anchors we discussed?
Constantly. There were vital supports. She integrated mindfulness skills into her routine, practicing focused breathing awareness, doing mindful everyday tasks like driving or washing dishes.
And for the really overwhelming moments.
She used grounding techniques, really anchoring herself in her senses to get through waves of intense anxiety. She also experimented with healthy distractions and activities, HDAs.
Like the cruise liner research.
Yeah. When anticipatory anxiety about an upcoming flight flared up, instead of just worrying, she redirected her attention to researching cruise liners online, something engaging and positive related to travel. It gave her attention a constructive place to go.
And loving action. How did that fit in for her?
There's a great specific example. She felt stomach pain, and her health anxiety immediately jumped to, this could be cancer.
The familiar side screen pattern.
Exactly. But instead of going down that rabbit hole of worry, reassurance seeking, maybe researching symptoms online, she used that internal fear signal as her cue.
Her prompt for loving action.
Yes. She looked at her list and chose an act of service.
Oh,
She picked up the phone and contacted a local animal shelter to inquire about volunteering opportunities.
wow. She literally converted the anxiety signal into fuel for pursuing a core value.
Right then and there. It's a fantastic demonstration of the principle in action.
So what was the overall outcome for Miss J? Did the anxiety just disappear?
Well, not disappear entirely. That's usually not the goal with TSM. But the results were remarkable. Those intrusive, violent images, they decreased significantly in frequency and intensity. They became more like a background nuisance, as she put it, rather than something crippling.
That's huge progress.
Huge. Her health anxiety lessened considerably. She dramatically reduced her avoidance of social situations. The key metric wasn't the absence of anxiety, but the change in how she related to it.
Her relationship changed.
Her relationship changed. By facing her fears with exposure and consistently applying accept and redirect using the anchors, she built tremendous confidence. After one particularly challenging social exposure at a mall where her anxiety definitely spiked, but she stayed present and used her skills, she reflected afterwards, it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be.
That internal shift, that realization that you can handle it.
That's the shift that unlocks the freedom. It's not about never feeling anxious again. It's about knowing you can navigate it and still live your life.
That case study really does bring the whole method together. It shows how these pieces, acceptance, redirection, the anchors, sometimes exposure can work together even when challenges feel overwhelming.
It really demonstrates that by fundamentally changing your internal relationship to difficult thoughts and feelings, and by intentionally directing your energy towards what truly matters to you through action, you can profoundly shift your experience and your capabilities.
So if we boil it down, the big takeaway here seems to be you are not just a passive recipient of whatever your mind throws at you.
Not at all.
You have an active relationship with your thoughts and feelings. And maybe most importantly, you have choices about how you respond when that challenging internal stuff shows up.
Yes. And the two-screen method provides that clear, practical framework for making those choices. Accept what's on the side screen, acknowledge it's there without getting sucked in.
Don't click the pop-up ad.
Right. And actively, deliberately redirect your attention and your life energy back to the front screen. Use mindfulness, use healthy distractions and activities, and maybe most transformatively, use loving action.
It really offers a path to break free from those exhausting cycles of worry, fear, maybe unhealthy urges or low mood, and instead build a life that feels grounded in what matters most to you.
It provides that internal map, that operating manual for the mind that, so many of us just never got. It shows you concrete steps you can take on the inside to create real, meaningful change on the outside.
It really feels like it puts the power back where it belongs in your hands.
It absolutely does.
So as you, our listener, reflect on your own internal landscape after hearing all this, maybe think about this. What specific side screen activity tends to show up in your life?
That recurring worry, maybe an urge you grapple with, or a persistent negative thought pattern.
Could you potentially see that not just as a problem, but as a signal, maybe even as a trigger, an opportunity, sometime this week, to consciously choose to live out one of your core values instead, to express the very best part of yourself through a specific action?
How might that internal challenge, the thing that feels like an obstacle, actually become the unexpected catalyst for positive action, for building the life you truly want?